coming up in all angles, both former general secretaries, both former ministers of national security. One now leads the PNP, the other wants to. The last challenge split the party. Now comes another. Which Peter will it be? Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of All Angles. I'm Dion Jackson Miller, and a very special welcome to our viewers on onespotmedia.com. Well, on Sunday night, Peter Bunting announced that he will be challenging Peter Phillips for the leadership of the People's National Party. Now, in studio with us this evening for the entire hour, we do have Peter Bunting. He's, of course, Member of Parliament for Central Manchester. Just before we go to him, let's look at a clip from his announcement on Sunday night.
The declaration of intent to offer myself for nomination for President of the People's National Party is not something that was a calculated decision. You know, people, because I'm an engineer, people think I calculate everything. I didn't go through every constituency and try and figure out how many delegates and whether somebody supported me or not, and, you know, try add it up. Because arithmetic is an important thing for a politician. But not every decision you make is based on arithmetic. Some decisions are made because you feel called to make that decision. And this was a decision that I felt called to make. An election will probably be called next year. And that is why it is all the more urgent for us to get ourselves in shape. That is why it is urgent for comrades to believe that we can win. Because if they don't believe we can win, it will become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Okay, thank you so much for staying with us. Mr. Bunting, thank you so much for coming in. I found that a very curious statement. Do you actually want to win this leadership challenge?
Yes, certainly. I believe that it is important to re-energize the base of the party and to inject a sense of purpose into the party.
But you want to win as well?
Yes, yes, yes.
So how do you not make a calculated decision? How do you not weigh your support and ascertain whether or not going in, you can win?
Because I'm going to the voting public, in this case, the delegates, to make a case. If I can't base my calculation on where they stand before I've made a case, I'm going to go out there to persuade them. But when I say I felt called to do it, it was because after assessing what had happened since our loss in the 2016 general election, the party has basically been in a sense of drift. We did an appraisal report. Julian Robinson chaired that committee. There were some findings from the appraisal report. When we lost East Portland, I went back and I dug up those findings. And every single one, the same mistakes that we had made in 2016, the same mistakes we made in East Portland. The moving around, going to various functions, comrade nights, grave diggings for comrades, RECs, councillor caucuses. After East Portland, you found the organization was entirely flat. People started to lose hope that we could win the next election. Now, if you leave that there, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I felt that we had to do something. We couldn't just continue in the sense of drift, and that's why I offered myself.
But when Mr. Simpson Miller had stepped down, we had heard at the time that you didn't challenge then, or you didn't decide to to put yourself up for leadership because you felt you didn't have the votes at that time. True?
It was clear that the majority felt at that time that it was Peter Phillips' turn. And there was no point in putting the party through a wrenching, what potentially could have been a wrenching contest if I didn't see a clear path to victory.
But no, you don't know if you have a clear path to
No, I
victory
believe
either.
that I do. But it's really, I don't want
Based
to
on
make it
what?
about me. Based on Peter has got his chance, and so far we have not seen anything. If after 2.5 years, there's been not a single transformational initiative coming from his leadership, it will be very difficult to persuade the public that something will happen now. And I think perhaps the end of year 3 is the last chance that we really have to get our organization in shape. So it's really now or never.
What have you, though, been doing within those 2 years? I mean, you're a senior figure within the party, former Gen Sec, influential business person, and all of that. Watching you in Parliament, it almost seemed as if you were charting your own course. There was one day in Parliament where one of the opposition members shouted out to you, say, you know, you'll look for campaign for leadership. So a lot of people had been looking at you and said, boy, it looked like Seymour set up himself. So was this in the works? Had you been planning this for a long time?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I have, whatever I've been asked to do by the leadership, I have, entered upon that reference with enthusiasm. I've tried to deliver as best as I can.